All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the Harvard Chan Sea Change Youth Summit on climate science, medicine, and health, which is being held in Boston, Mass. This summer. And just so you know, this is being recorded, so it will be available later. But just wanted to let you know it is being recorded. So my name is Julian, and I'm a program director at Putney Student Travel. We collaborate with the Chan School of Public Health to offer this program every year. This is going to be our sixth summer coming up, and we're really excited to host students in Boston. So this webinar is going to probably take about a half an hour or so. You feel free to drop any questions in the Q&A. And so we're going to start off by hearing from Governor Peter Shumlin, who will tell us a little bit about how the program started and why the time for action is now. Then we'll hear from Sky Flanagan, who's a program director at Harvard Chan Sea Change. Sky will give you an overview of the center, some of the highlights from last year's program, and what we're looking forward to this coming summer. We'll go into a little bit about the application process and the scholarship program. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Peter Shumlin, to talk about how the program started.
Thank you, Julian. Hello, Sky, and hello, friends. It's great to be with you. I'll keep it fairly brief. I do have to leave after this brief presentation, but you'll be in good hands with Sky and Julian. So I'll tell you a little bit about how this program came to be and why I think that it is more important and more relevant than ever in our history. Putney was founded by my parents 75 years ago. They were educators. It's their 75th anniversary summer. And they had a simple vision back in those years. It was right after World War II. The world was in distress. And they thought, let's start to run educational programs. They were high school teachers for high school students where they go out into the world, work on issues, do service, learn languages, live in homestays, which was unusual in those years, and focus and learn and get access to some of the great universities around the world, their professors, their researchers, their scientists, and so forth. We've been doing it ever since. But this particular program really grew out of a different part of my life. And I should mention that my daughters are now the third generation leaders at Putney, so they just let me in the door once in a while. But having said that, back when Obama was running for president against John McCain, just to put it in historical perspective, I decided to run for governor of the state of Vermont. And I did so because I wanted to, there's a Democratic primary, I'm a Democrat, and I wanted to raise issues that I thought weren't being raised. You may remember at that time that we were a much more unified country, that Republicans and Democrats worked together on issues more commonly, and that everyone at that time was running on the simple issue of jobs because we'd just gone through what we called the Great Recession. It was the closest we came to a depression worldwide, and we were everyone was in terrible straits, focusing on how do we dig out of this mess. I was listening to the jobs proposals of the four folks running a Democratic primary in this little state, and I just thought it was sort of more of the same. So I ran thinking I would never win. I'm from southern Vermont. All the people in Vermont are in the northern end of the state, Burlington, Montpelier, that area. So frankly, we haven't elected a governor from what we call the Deep South in almost 55 years until I came along. So anyway, I won't tell you the whole platform because we don't have time, but what I felt passionate about was that this transition that was so critical to the future of this planet, of moving from fossil fuels and coal to other ways of powering the future, was going to be a huge jobs creator. So I said a few things in that campaign going around Vermont as I was here to Vermonters. I said, we're going to create jobs, and we're going to do it by shutting down the leaking frankly, dangerous nuclear power plant that we relied upon, the coal and oil sources we were using. We're going to move to solar, to wind, like you've never seen before, energy efficiency, so we use less energy. And we will be one of the leaders for the country of the 50 states in how you can make this transition and how you can create jobs. I said, we'll put money in Vermonters' pockets, we'll reduce electric rates. I said, we will have a lot of young people looking for great jobs and get them because we'll have them as we make this transition. And most importantly, we will show how we can reduce our carbon footprint to meet what my goal was of being carbon neutral by 2050. Anyway, I won't bore you with all the details except to say that I won the primary. I was elected governor, and the first bill that I signed, which you see a photo of here, a slide of here, was signing the energy bill that gave me the tools to implement the policies that I just discussed. Short version, if you go to the next slide, I served for 3 terms. I didn't run for a fourth. But when I was done, Vermont was rated by the Union of Concerned Scientists as the #1 solar state in America. 4 out of 6 of the years that I served, power rates went down while our neighboring states rose. So for 4 of the 6 years, you get your bill in the mail and it would be a reduction as opposed to an increase. We created huge numbers of jobs. 1 out of 17 Vermonters right now work in the renewable energy business here. 48% are women. They're all young and we're an aging state, so that was important. We grew solar by 22 times, and wind power by 22 times, solar by 11, and we moved the state towards the goal that I mentioned earlier. So I'm not saying all this because I want to brag about what we got done, but I want to put in perspective to how this program was created and why it is relevant. If you hit the next slide, when I was done being governor, I was a fellow at both the Kennedy School and the Harvard School of Public Health. My passion was at the Harvard School of Public Health, where I met Sky, by the way. When I got there, I found that Gina McCarthy, who you see before you here in this slide, was also there. She was the head of the EPA when I was governor. We worked very closely together on lots of issues. And she's someone that I respect immensely. She and I were having a quiet moment one evening. And if you hit the next slide, it was when Greta was coming across to give her speech at the UN. It was Trump's first term. I'm sorry. It was when I take that back. Yeah, historically, it was when it's Trump's first term. And Greta was sort of a symbol for young people desperate for climate action. You may recall at that time, middle school and high school students across the country were striking on Fridays. They were walking out of school. And Gina said something to me that I'll never forget, which was, Peter, in her, great Boston, South Boston accent, these kids know that walking out of school on Friday isn't going to solve climate. They're just so desperate for the information, the knowledge, what they need to make the change, to learn what they need to move to a cleaner source of energy as a planet so that their future is bright, and to create jobs, to make money, to have a bright future. And so we kind of got the idea right there. She said, don't you work with high school kids when you're not doing all what you do here and everywhere else? I said, yeah. And she said, well, let's do it. Harvard's going to provide the best researchers, the best lecturers. Harvard has the best resources in the world. And instead of just sharing it with undergraduate and graduate students, as we do here at the School of Public Health, we're going to share it with students who are completing 8th through 12th grades 1 week in the summertime, give them the tools they need to make the magic happen. So that's exactly what we've been doing ever since. And it's a fantastic program. As you can imagine, if you'd said to me at that time, and I was with President Obama helping to push through the Paris Climate Accord, as you know, the United States is the only nation in the world who has twice now backed out of the Paris Climate Accord, when we all know that the United States of America has made the greatest contribution to the challenges that we face in terms of carbon and changing climate. So, but if you'd said to me that we would be where we are now, I would have literally thought that you'd lost your mind. Here's my view. The clock is ticking. Time is running out. What this program does is give you access to folks that you would never have access to, and a group of peers who share the passion to get a piece of this action that's going to define the later half of the 21st century and certainly the 22nd. It focuses on science, public health, medicine, economics and business, and policy of climate, and how that's going to affect it, and how you are going to be a part of the change that is necessary and the opportunity that comes with it to make the future of the planet livable. So I'm going to turn it over to Sky, but what I can tell you is, having been at this incredible summit for the last well, we've been at it now for 9 years, but planning and making this all happen. There's nothing quite like the power of seeing the outcomes after just 8 days of the work that students do and the knowledge they gain, and how they take that, their action focus, and carry it into their future. So I'm going to turn it over to Sky Flanagan. She is a force of nature. She's been with Sea Change, which she'll tell you more about at the Public School uh, Public Health for a long time. And she's passionate about this program. A new mom, by the way. So that's something that we're all super excited about. And we're going to, I think when she comes this summer, she'll be bringing with her the youngest enrollee we've ever had, which will be about what, 6, 7 months by then? 8 months. Anyway, Sky Flanagan, take it away. Thank you so much. And we're here at Putney in the barn. If you have questions, if you want to talk personally, give us a call. I am passionate about talking about this program. So call and ask for me, and I'm happy to answer questions you might have. Thank you. Sky, take it away. And I hope I didn't go too long.
No problem. Thank you so much, Governor Shumlin, and welcome everyone. My name is Sky Flanagan. I'm the Director of External Partnerships and Programs for Harvard Chan Sea Change. And as Peter mentioned, Harvard Chan is a very special place within the Harvard ecosystem. We are really focused on making sure that we think about health in many different contexts, but our center, the Center for Climate Health and the Global Environment, also known as Harvard Chan Sea Change, really is at the intersection of public health and climate change. So our mission is we seek climate solutions that provide for a healthier and more just world today and a livable future for our children. And the center convenes researchers from across the Harvard campus and beyond to tackle complex climate challenges. And we really like to think about how we can uplift climate solutions and make sure that our research is more accessible and actionable to decision makers, public, and beyond. And this is a little bit about our leadership. Our current director is Dr. Mary Rice. She's a pulmonary respiratory health doctor. And we are joined also by a variety of other doctors on our leadership team, as well as our faculty. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But as Peter mentioned, Gina McCarthy, after she left the EPA under President Obama, she came and directed this center. And when we were starting to brainstorm about how we could support our students during a time of crisis, Governor Shumlin, Gina, and I decided let's put on this program to really give high school students the skills they need to become leaders within their community. So we've been really grateful to have some of our faculty participate within the program. You can see, actually, Julian, if you go to the next slide, our former director, Ari Bernstein, has been a big a big participant in the component. And, he's just one example of the type of expertise we bring in. He's currently the director of the National Center for Environmental Health and Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. I know that's a long name, but he's really running environmental health for the US at the CDC. And he's a doctor and he comes and works on the program. And our another roster of some of the types of folks you can see that are guest speakers and are part of our faculty. We have Vanessa Carey, who's part of our core faculty, and she is the Honorable John Kerry's daughter, and she is the the WHO's envoy for climate and health, and other folks like Howard Koh, who served as the Assistant Secretary of Health for the United States. We have politicians like Jeff Sanchez, who is a representative for Massachusetts. We have people that are on air, like Tevin Wooten, who is a weather reporter here in Boston, and folks like Marcia Castro and Francesca Dominici, who are some of the most well-published scientists ever, and definitely leaders in their field. So throughout the week, we also have where each group is led by instructors. So each one of our instructors brings their own set of skills and background within climate, and these are the types of folks that you'll see with that are with the students at all times. And each one of them has a very, very unique background and is incredibly knowledgeable about the work at hand and are really experts in guiding students throughout the process. So, to tell you a little bit more about the Youth Summit, as you probably are aware, the program runs from July 11th through July 18th. So, it's a Saturday to Saturday, and it is for grades 8 through 12. And we have students from across the country and the world convene in Boston for the Youth Summit, and they come. Um, and they spend one intensive week with us, hearing from guest lecturers, working on different workshops, and really getting to know each other. So when students register, they pick one of our 5 action focus groups, and this is really meant to help students um, hone in on what area of climate that they're most interested in. So, if you're someone who is really interested in learning about how to communicate climate science or getting into media to learn more about it, we have a communications group. Or you're interested in being a journalist, we have a communications group, and your program will be kind of tailored to that. Um, Similarly, if you're someone that is really excited about creating some sort of climate tech startup, or you really want to get into an industry, you could join the entrepreneurship group, or if you're really interested in medicine and healthcare, we have a track for that. So as you can see, we have 5 action focus groups: communications, entrepreneurship, global health, healthcare, policy, and advocacy. And of course, each one of these groups are going to hear from a variety of keynote speakers together, but they're also going to hear from individual speakers that are focused on these things so that their experience is really tailored to what they're interested in. And so throughout the week, once you get into these smaller pods, you work with your group. And at the end of the week, we have every person or group come up with what we call a community action plan. And a community action plan is a really incredible piece that you take from this program. So it's something that you can take home. We really love this aspect of it because it allows students to share what they're most interested in and bring it back to their community. So we've had people that are, as an example, I really want to start a greenhouse at my high school so we can grow fresh foods. So they come up with some sort of community action plan or project that they present at the end of the week, and then we hope that they will take back to their community. And these action plans have been super inspiring for us in the past. Um, we had one student who said, I'm really passionate about creating better climate policy. I'm going to run for state representative. And that student went on to be the youngest candidate to run for state representative in his state. And we've had other students who are like, I really care so deeply about becoming a climate journalist. And, her action plan was, I want to get more involved with my local paper, and, shared that at the end of the week. And then she went back to her community and joined her local newspaper and wrote about all sorts of environmental and climate issues. And actually, that student went on to be a Harvard undergrad and is now writing for the Harvard Crimson. So it has been really great to see all that through. But this is really the place where you can get creative and bring home what you learn, and make sure that what you learn this week doesn't just stay at Harvard. It comes back to your community with you. And this is a super exciting and fun part of the program. So then all of that is paired with excursions around Boston. So you'll be, going to various different museums. The Museum of Science is always a highlight on the program. to check out different exhibits and explore the city of Boston. And then, of course, you will be exploring Harvard. It is a really special place. Our school, the Harvard School of Public Health, is actually located in Boston because we are part of the health systems. So we're in the Boston medical area. But we do take a day to go over to Cambridge, explore the Cambridge campus, really make sure you get that Cambridge feel because it's a really awesome place. It's the oldest university in the country. It has so much history and has so much to offer. And it is somewhere where we learn and connect with each other. And you will be taking a tour of the campus and really getting to connect with each other and spending time hearing from current Harvard students as well as alumni. And then we like to pair that as well with, other activities. So on a nightly basis, you'll be doing things like, maybe a yoga session. We also had a great, running club that people were doing. Other folks were really interested in doing art. And so we had an art night, a self-care night. So we really try to make sure it's fun and even the downtime is programmed in a way that uplifts the students. And then one of the key, I guess one of the most fun aspects of the program is we do take a kayaking trip on the Charles River, which is such a great way to experience Boston and Cambridge. It's so beautiful. You have Boston on one side and Cambridge on the other, and it is always a huge highlight for our students. And finally, as Governor Shumlin mentioned, one of the main aspects of the program is that you really build a network of peers that are interested and care about these issues. It can feel lonely sometimes when you're thinking about the climate space and how you can get involved, but the reality is the more that you build out your network and you find others that have similar interests and can help support each other, the better. So we've really seen that students come with the passion and they leave with lifelong friendships that go well beyond the program and continue to blossom throughout it. So that is a little bit about an overview of the program. I hope that it was informative. And as Governor Shumlin mentioned, please feel free to reach out if you have any other further questions. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Julian to talk more about the application process.
Thanks, Guy. Just one thing I wanted to add from being at the program these last few years, the students who come on this program are amazing, and each student, gets to meet students from all over the country. We typically have a ton of states represented. We typically have about 10% international students who come. So it's really a powerful experience for them to network and make friends with people from different backgrounds and parts of the country. But everybody has these similar interests, generally, of climate and health and medicine. So just a plug for it's just an amazing experience. And the more students, the better. It's a great, great experience. So for the next steps, if you're interested in the program and you want to learn more, you can always reach out to me. You can actually schedule a call on our website with me directly. My name's Julian, or you can call our office anytime. Happy to chat. But the application process is pretty straightforward. You can go on our website, you click apply now, you'll start an application. You'll hold a space officially with a deposit to just hold your space in the program. And once that is done, we'll ask each student to write a short application statement saying why they want to join the program, what they're going to bring to the group and to their class, and what's really motivating them. Just a short statement, but just to get a sense of who they are. And then we ask for 2 teacher references and a signed agreement form by the parent, and that's pretty much it. So we take applications on a rolling basis until we don't have any more capacity. So we'd love to talk with you if you're interested in this as a possibility for the summer. Applications are open and rolling. So we do also have a scholarship program with funding is available. The deadline for applications is April 5th. So it's a little earlier than some other programs, but it's important to get your application in early for that. And please, help us spread the word about this program. We love getting great students who are interested in climate and health, and we'd love to talk with you more about it. So with that, I think we'll bring this to a close. I don't think there are any questions here, but if you do have any, just don't hesitate to reach out.